Donbass and Crimea are not the first territories to suffer the geopolitical ambitions of the Kremlin. 25 years ago, as the Soviet Union fell, the Soviet army stationed in the Moldovan region of Transnistria refused to give up any of its equipment, as was agreed to. That began a war that resulted in Transnistria becoming a de facto Russian puppet state. Here, as in Donbass, Moscow leveraged the high percentage of Russian speakers in the area to undermine the territorial integrity of an independent state. In Transnistria, the hot phase of the war was much shorter-lived, but it has been in a frozen stage ever since. The war was bloody but short-lived, for several weeks. The peak was from June through the beginning of July of 1992. The question of refugees was not so acute. Yes, we had about 100,000 refugees, but 90% of them returned in the winter of 1992. From 1992 onward, a generation has grown up on both sides of the Dniester River with no memory of living in a unified country. However, the government still recognizes everyone as Moldovan citizens. Transnistrians can freely move throughout the country, go to work in the government-controlled parts of Moldova, and receive medical care in Moldovan hospitals. The fact that, despite the length of the conflict, we managed to preserve so many lines of communication between people and economic communities, this is a positive in comparison with Ukraine. Ukrainian political scientists stress that Russia is more actively and directly involved in military actions in Donbass compared to the other breakaway republics which it supports elsewhere in the former Soviet Union. This includes Transnistria, Nagorno-Karabakh, South Ossetia, and Abkhazia. There is no clear analog for this conflict, but in terms of military actions there is, unfortunately, a risk that we can go the way of Karabakh. The conflict can drag on, and these military actions can be very long. Despite the unique circumstances, experts emphasize that it is very important to maintain contact and relationships with the population of the occupied territories of Donbass. When Ukrainian government control eventually returns to Donbass, its residents must be able to reintegrate into Ukraine as seamlessly as possible.